And now your $1,500, money that you may have owed to either a lender or in fines or whatever it may be, just turned into $15,000 in damage. And it's your fault. So as a lot of people have heard from my previous interviews, I'm involved in the repossession industry, and we impound cars and things like that nature. So we have a huge storage lot, but one of the biggest hurdles that we've been facing in the past, I would say, it's going on now for about 8 years, is that a lot of the vehicles, as a lot of people know, all have apps connected to them, and they are equipped with Wi-Fi and satellite service. So a big problem we're having is that they have built-in GPSs to locate the cars. So as we're taking cars from people or impounding cars, people are locating their cars. So that leads to a bigger problem. The bigger problem being not only just locating them, but a lot of people are trying to steal them back, which has become an issue. We've had several cars stolen, and thankfully we've recovered them. But now we're starting to try to think of more and more ways to thwart this. A lot of cars, you can disconnect the car battery, but however, they have a backup battery. A lot of cars have 2 batteries. Now you got to disconnect both batteries. There are people that put aftermarket tracking devices in their cars, as simple as an AirTag. So these are things that exist out there that are really giving us a problem. I actually took this as an opportunity myself to come out with a product. It's a product that existed in the marketplace but wasn't marketed for this purpose. And it's kind of like the modern day club, which is what we have coined the lasso. It's a tempered steel cable that wraps around your steering wheel and locks into your seatbelt receptacle. So for all intents and purposes, you cannot steer the car. That is helping to thwart the vehicles being stolen. However, just like anything in this world, if you want it bad enough and you're going to work hard enough, you're going to get it. I mean, I've seen people hoist cars out of yards with, these monster tow trucks and the cranes. People just driving through fences. You have enough tools and enough knowledge or enough patience and time, and you can basically steal anything in this world. That's been an ongoing problem nationwide. But a lot of these GPSs are also good to assist in the recovery of cars. So, I mean, they're used more for assisting in recovery than they are in, stealing of the cars. But it exists, and, just like anything in this world, you come out with a better mousetrap and somebody is there trying to defeat it. I mean, I have a theory all these years that the people that make viruses for computers are the same guys that are making the antivirus software. That's just my theory. I don't think I'm far off. And when you say it to somebody who's in the computer, segment, they say, yeah, you might be onto something. A lot of the people that try to steal their cars back either damage the vehicle when they're trying to steal it or in the act of stealing it. We've had people that will just drive through our fences, and they'll do more damage to the car than maybe what they owe in their fines or their or the money that they have to come up with to actually get their car back. I mean, I've seen people drive cars off of trucks and they rip off the whole front end of the car. You're driving a Mercedes and a tow truck hoists your car off the ground. You jump in it to drive it off. You're going to rip off your bumper. You can rip, all these all-wheel drive cars. You can take the transfer case with it. You can take the radiation with it. And now your $1,500, money that you may have owed to either a lender or in fines or whatever it may be, just turned into $15,000 in damage. And it's your fault. You were behind the wheel of the car. We're not responsible for that. That's the lesser of two evils. One of the biggest problems that I've seen in the repossession/impound world and stolen vehicle world is lately, I would say in the past year or so, is transport fraud. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of websites out there. One in particular is called Central Dispatch, where people farm out transportation jobs. So for instance, if I wanted to ship a car of mine from New York to California, I'd put it out on the web, on this portal, on this platform. People can contact me to transport the car or even bid on it and try to get the job. So what we've seen is a lot of people getting the information, portraying themselves as another transport company, trying to get the job, and actually stealing the car. So, they come, they pick up the car, they give you all the paperwork, they take photos, give you a receipt. Half of them get paid in advance. They're taking your money, and then the car never makes it to its destination. And this has been running rampant. It is an awful situation. We've heard a lot of cars wind up in Mexico with the cartels. I know there was a dealer who had 4 cars that were taken, and they were held as ransom. So a lot of these cars, for instance, like a G-Wagon or a Range Rover, it might only sell for $20,000 or $30,000 on the black market in Mexico, $150,000 car. You say $20,000 or $30,000 is not much for that. Down there, it's a lot more. However, these cartels will contact the original person that transported the car and said, $60,000, you could have it back. I'll tell you where it's going to be. And these people have been getting the ransoms, and they've been paying because most of these cars are dealer sold cars. They don't have insurance on them. They're relying on the transporter's insurance. God forbid something happens to it, and it's a scam. And now, $150,000 car, most guys will take a gamble and pay $60,000 to get back $150,000. So my best advice for anybody who's transporting a car is vet them. Get all their information. Call their insurance broker. Check with the insurance company. Make sure they have a valid policy. B, look up that company, division of corporations, wherever they may be. Make sure they're legitimate. The next step is call the company and make sure that they're the company that you hired, and get them to call you back. Get somebody from that company. Verify who the owner is. Know that your insurance may not cover it, so make sure that that insurance is completely in effect, and get an insurance certificate, and get ID from who's ever picking it up. Get their photo ID, get the registration to their truck. You also don't want to pay for a transport until it's complete. You don't want to pay people in advance. There's no reason to. If they can't afford to transport your car and incur the expenses that it costs to get the car from point A to point B, you don't want to use them. And if it's too good to be true, do not give them that car. Do not. I just had a G-Wagon recently, and any request I gave, they said no problem. And that's a problem. And most transporters will ask for more money than the advertised price. So if you advertise the transport for, let's say, $2,500 coast to coast, if they come back to you and say, no problem, that's a problem. Because most people are trying to get extra money. I can do it for $2,800. I can do it for $3,100. They want to negotiate with you, which is the norm. So if you put a low price in and they say, no problem, done, we can pick it up today, that's a problem. That's a red flag. So you want to stay away from those things. It can't hurt to put a tracking device in the car yourself. If it's going to be your car, or even if you're selling the car to somebody, put a tracking device in it. They're cheap. They're magnetic. And when it gets there, tell them, just FedEx it back to me. What's it going to cost? $30 to FedEx it back? And now you know where your vehicle is at all times? And one of the biggest problems I have seen is when people are selling cars, it's a person-to-person deal. They will put the title in the glove box of the car. Now, you've just given your beloved car with a signed title, both keys, to some stranger who is now traveling the country and can do whatever the heck he wants with that car. Don't do it.
Right now, we've got the greatest offer we've ever had from Avalon King. Their AS9 DIY ceramic coating is now just $59.99. That's $20 off. And for the first 100 people today to click the link in the description below, they're going to get a free bottle of the Armor Shield Light, a $34.99 value included. Now, what we love about this is that it has the same hydrophobic properties that we love about the ceramic coating, but it's so much easier to work with and use whenever you need just a spot or whatever cleaning up, like you would a quick detail in the Armor Shield Light. And if your car is already coated, this will sort of energize and rejuvenate the coating to make it perform even better. So check them out now at the link in the description below to get yours today.